Hey, this is Robert, younger than last year, and it's emerging from lockdown episode. Look at that light up there. Maybe I should turn that one off. Oh, that's not it. That one. No, there it goes. That looks better. Yeah, you can see up there, there's some X-Men statues up there for fans of the X-Men, and a few other things up here. It's the funnest fitness studio in Brooklyn, even though hardly anyone comes here ever since lockdown. Speaking of lockdown, I was doing a video earlier today about I wasn't doing about habits, but habits, it's not specifically about habits, but it's about healthy habits and unhealthy habits. Now, what is a habit, I guess, is the first thing to understand. Where do habits come from? Where do good habits come from? Bad habits come from? Do bad habits come from just living a mechanical sort of life? We get these ideas stuck in there. And do good habits come because of willpower and discipline? I would say both ways are probably not the best way to go about a habit. Now, before we go any further with that, one habit that's good to get into is some movement. So we're going to start off with that. I was figuring some kind of whole body abdominal exercise today. So the first version of this, I'm going to show you what's called a walkout. Just goes like this. So you can follow along if you want. An easier version is starting on your knees like this. So this would be for real beginners here. You would put your hands on the floor, walk out, hold your stomach tight. In other words, don't let your hips drop, right? So now I don't feel my abs at all. When I squeeze like this, I do. So walk at about this pace. Take your hands out as far as you can. If you can only get them here, that's fine. If you want to take them out here, that's good too. Just don't lose it in your midsection. This is an ab exercise, believe it or not. Let's try a couple more like that. Walk out and walk in. Now, if you want to get fancier, you can walk out and come down to your forearms, come back to your hands, and walk back. Try that. Ready? Hope you're trying this. Hope you got some room or time wherever you are. This is a simple but actually very potent exercise. When you get up, you do the best you can. But as you get better, you try to dial it in so you're not wiggling all over the place. Next version would be from your feet. So that looks like this. Walk your hands out to here, to a push-up, top of a push-up position. So we're not sagging. My head's not sagging. I'm tight like a plank, really. Then walk my hands back. If you need a rest, you stand. If you don't remove your hands from the floor and stand up at all. Just come out, walk back, right? Come out, walk back. So my legs are tight right here. My butt, my abs, my pits of my elbows are forward, so my shoulders are in the sockets. Everything's in tight. Great little strength exercise. Again, if you want to take it a notch further, you can take it out, down to your forearms, still tight, no drooping, right? Back up, walk yourself back. Again, walk out, walk back. Let's do one more of these. And into the forearm plank. Alternate, if you can, which arm you get up with first. So I'll show you one more time. So with this one, putting my left hand down first, right? Let's do it one more time. If I come down this way, right hand first. If you want to stretch in the back of your legs, you walk back like so. If you're not flexible enough, keep your knees bent. So, that's exercise number one. one more advanced version. I'm sure you remember your grandparents or your parents maybe having one of those little ab wheels, little black wheel with a handle out the side. I don't know if you ever saw anyone use it. But this is a great little tool. Now, it's not for everybody. If you got a shoulder or elbow issue, maybe not, but or maybe even lower back. But if you do it careful enough, half the time you should be fine. So the best safe way to do this, if you're first learning the wheel, and by the way, this is like a walkout, except we're on a wheel, so it's even a little harder. I'm going to park myself in front of a wall, come out, the wheel stops at the wall, right? Notice I'm solid, I'm not drooping, right? Just like before. Squeeze those abs hard and pull back. Out, take an inhale, right? And back. Let's do 2 more. Now, if you don't have a wheel, just do walkouts and walk your hands further out. So, you walk like so. Instead of your hands right under your shoulders, take them farther out, right? Just like if you had a wheel. Stay tight. Legs, butt, abs, shoulders. No loose leaks with this one. Walk yourself back up. Come back out again. A little further, I think. There we go. I wonder, I used to be able to go further with this. See how this looks. Ooh, been a good while. There we go. Been a while. Anyway, I can feel that in shoulders, stomach, especially those 2 areas, but a lot of the other muscles along the body all have to tie in to keep you tight. So, try any of those walkout versions. If you got wrist problems, just do it on your elbows. There's often ways to get around issues. Okay, where were we? Habits at the beginning, if you're still bearing with, if you're still watching. So, there's healthy habits to look after yourself and not so healthy habits, right? A not so healthy habit might be, let's say, with sleep. Always going to bed too late and cursing that you have to get up in the morning because you're so tired. That's probably not a good habit. That is going to, you keep doing that, that's going to make your health go. It might take a while, but I don't care who you are. In one way or the other, it will. And when it comes to unhealthy habits, unless it's a really extreme one, often it just chips away at you through the years. That's why we often don't do anything about changing habits until we see something that's gone way far, like maybe somebody puts on a lot of weight, and there's a time when they finally look in the mirror and get horrified, and maybe they say, I got to do something. But by then, it's really tough, right? So, to me, it helps if you understand what it is you are, and how you were constructed and what you actually need and don't need, right? Now, I have a sweet tooth, so that's a habit I have to watch out for, right? I've always had it. That would be one. Sugar, salt, and fat, the three biggies with junk food, those all turn into big time unhealthy habits. Every day, ice cream, potato chips, cookies, I mean, you know, salt, sugar, and fat. Those 3 things are in all of those. And yes, there's even sugar in potato chips. And then there's the hidden sugar and stuff, where food is refined, like made out of grains, like a wheat type thing, that breaks as soon as you eat that. Let's say some crackers, regular saltine crackers. You eat those, and the saliva starts breaking the structure down, the starch down, and very quickly, it breaks down into sugar. That's why when you cut starch out, pasta, bread, all that stuff, you're basically just taking more sugar out of your diet. So how do you get a healthy habit in? That's the tricky part. And like I said, it helps to understand what you are. Forget about who you are, saying, oh, I'm this, I don't need to do that. Well, I don't know where that came from. That could be just some belief you had that just came out of nowhere, or somebody told you and they didn't know what they were saying. It could have nothing to do with anything. What you are, okay? That's why I have 7 foundations. You can see a few of them on the wall. Mobility, flexibility, and strength. Those 2 right there, we were working those pretty good with those walkouts, for instance. So, what we are, that's what the foundations basically are. Jack LaLanne, I brought this up time and time again. I think it's good to remember this one. Jack LaLanne often said, it's not what you do sometimes that counts, it's what things you do most of the time that counts. And the foundations are things that we were born under, our health was constructed around, our bodies were constructed around to happen most often. So the first one is mindset. What's one of the things we do all day? There's things ping-ponging around in our head all day. Mechanical thoughts, habit thoughts that we don't even pay attention to, but they're there. If you stop and just look at them as they are, instead of saying, oh, I shouldn't do that, and try to work discipline in, you'll never understand it, and you're constantly going to be in conflict with it. When you look at it how it is, let's say, I've seen a dog trainer that was training a dog of ours years ago. And she would actually work to understand the dog. She wouldn't just discipline it and tell it no, no, no all the time. She actually worked to understand this dog. And over time, she showed me what to do, and it did help. Disciplining something, I mean, the original meaning of the word discipline, if you go back to the root word, means to learn, to understand, right? It doesn't mean to take away or sacrifice or harshness. Doesn't mean any of that. So thoughts are always there. Start watching them. Second one's breathing. We're doing that all day. If you're doing something not that good and you're doing it all day, it catches up with you. 3, rest and recovery. I brought that up already. That's sleep. 4, fuel. That's the food that we're eating and the water and the fluids we're drinking. So if you got a habit like I did years ago, you would go out all the time in my 20s and drinking every night, maybe not the best fuel. And you do that, you don't eat very well. And you're in a place with a bunch of cigarettes. And I'm actually in my early 20s, I smoked anyway up till probably 24, 25 years old, between 18 to 25, somewhere in there. So there's that. Mobility, flexibility, that's movement. We were made to move under gravity. We were constructed that way. If we're sitting in a chair all day and we're not displacing, is the best word I can use, against gravity, our body will not respond, not just our joints either. The entire systems in our body rely on the feedback from movement. As I'm finding out myself, as science is finding out, this is not BS. This is 100% true. It controls blood sugar. It does so many different things. And blood sugar goes back to fuel, right? Diabetes, stuff like that. And mobility, flexibility, and strength. Strength already covered. We got to move under gravity. So we do need a portion of strength. Otherwise, we will just be falling as we get older. We're going to be running into all kinds of problems. And besides, feeling strong so you can play with the kids and the grandkids, not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you want to garden. Maybe you want to carry big, heavy bushes out and dig a hole in the garden and put it in there. No reason you can't do that. Last is passion. That's a biggie. There's passion to do the things you love to do, then that's something you should be doing. And you should discover that is part of who you are. It's also what you are. You should have a cause or a passion or something you love to do, but something that you love to do, not something you think you should be doing or it looks good to others. So if you look good to them, you love doing it and you get that out of it. It's the actual doing of it. Something that you do where when you spend 6 to 8 hours on it, it seems like only an hour has gone by. There's another side to passion. I'm not going to go into that. That's a much deeper one. But put all those together, right? and you got 7 healthy habits, and there's a ton of other smaller habits buried in each one of those. So I would, if I were you, I'd write this list down and start thinking about all of them, because these are things to look after yourself. And if you wait till it's too late, yeah, you can kind of stave some of it off. But I've seen some people, they let themselves go so far, so bad, that yes, you could work on some of it and it would help. But the time for that was years ago. And if you're at my age, 61, if you're in your 50s, you should have already started adopting some healthy habits. Don't wait till it's too late. Understand what you are and know what you need to do. An animal certainly knows what they need to do. You see an animal get up and stretch or do this or that, or they play or whatever. You've seen monkeys, dogs, birds. You see it all the time. So they know what to do. They know how to take care of themselves. We, on the other hand, overthink it, get ourselves into trouble, and we got a lot to learn from nature. We've actually disconnected from nature quite a bit, especially here in the city. That's why I went up to the Adirondacks earlier this month, or last month, sorry. It's September now. Woo! Labor Day is only a few days away. Hard to believe. So that's my message today. Healthy habits, unhealthy habits. You need to recognize the unhealthy habit, right? Whatever it is, and really understand what it's doing. Not that, well, I'll do it this time. I'll do it a few times a week and I should be fine. Recognize what it is instead of treating it like that. This is your life after all. I mean, you have to listen to me, but you should at least take a look at it. And if you say, oh, so what? Then I would say own that. Let's say you smoke a lot of cigarettes and I tell you, you know, those things are gonna kill you. And you say to me, well, what do you want to do? Live forever? And I would say, well, no, but you do not want to die of lung cancer, believe me. So there's a lot of things to look at on the unhealthy side. Once you've seen that, the importance of it maybe will go sink down a little bit, and it makes space for one of the healthy habits. You got to make space. You can't just keep piling stuff on top of each other. Unhealthy, healthy, unhealthy, healthy. It becomes like a big pile of blocks or bricks that are stacked haphazardly, and eventually it'll tip over, and you're going to find yourself in trouble. That's my advice, but I know you can do it because you are the most important person, because if you can't take care of yourself, who's going to? Nobody, that's who. And that's it. Walk out, all the different styles, recognize the unhealthy habit, watch it closely, see what it does to you, let it kind of reduce in size at the very least, put a healthy habit in the space that reduced unhealthy habit has made, and see what happens. One at a time. Don't try to do it all at once. And on that note, let's you and I do one thing each day to be younger than we were last year. I'll see you next week.